Welcome to another edition of Chamber Chat. I'm Josh Wooten, your host and the President and CEO of the Citrus County Chamber of Commerce. We're honored today to have a very special guest, Mr. Geoff Greene, who is our property appraiser. Welcome aboard, Geoff.
Thank you, Josh, so much for being here.
Thank you for coming in. I know we've been talking about this for a while, and our schedules finally meshed to where we could do this. But I'm impressed with some of the things that your office is doing, working with the EDC and the Chamber of Commerce. And I wanted you to kind of come in and let the public know what's going on. But first of all, I know the answers to these questions, but tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, a little about your background.
Sure. I moved up here in 1983 from South Florida. I was a mortgage banker, real estate broker. I was recruited to move here by Stan Olson to build out Meadowcrest Development. I was president of Meadowcrest Development Corporation. I was president of Black Diamond Development Corporation, so I've done all of that. And then I decided to run for public office, be a public servant, and I was fortunate to win. And now I am trying to work very hard with the EDC, the Chamber, and everybody to help turn this economy around. And y'all are doing a great job.
Well, as you are, your office is very helpful in every area because people want to know different statistics and things, property values,
absolutely,
all those things when they want to relocate to a community, whether it's a business or an individual. But for the benefits of our citizens, help us to understand the role of the property appraiser. And sometimes there's some confusion between the tax collector and the property appraiser. Explain to the citizens what the role of the property appraiser is.
Be happy to, Josh. You're right. It is confusing. You know, some citizens only realize they get a tax bill every year. But there's three entities that make up that tax bill. First of all, there's myself, the property appraiser, who establishes the value for that property. Then you have the taxing authorities that establish the tax rate or millage. And then finally, you have the tax collector that absolutely collects the revenue and distributes it back out to the taxing authorities. So it's rather interesting. The tax collector and myself, the property appraiser, are constitutional officers. We're duly elected, and we provide a balance, if you will, of not having the same person doing the setting the millage, setting the value, and collecting the funds. So it really creates separate entities, and that's for many reasons. Most of all, so that you don't have a high-powered person just driving up the values and the millage rates for spending.
Right. That makes sense. Absolutely. That separation.
It's a check and balance.
But you place the value. That buck stops with your office.
That's correct.
And then the Board of County Commissioners sets the millage.
Well, you have the Board of County Commissioners. And then you also have, and I've got a slide here, you've also got the schools, the county commissioners, you've got the mosquito control, you've got the hospital. They all each have their own millage rates, and those millages are set each year after I give the values as of July 1st, which is coming up. And we have done a June 1st early estimate, but after the July 1st, we then go to the taxing authorities. They establish their millages, and the process then goes from there.
Now explain this slide that you have up there, the components.
Absolutely, Josh. This is a slide of a typical home in Citrus County of 116, I believe it's 111,600, excuse me, value, and that generates a tax bill of $1,150.41. Of that $1,150, the Board of County Commissioners only gets $400. The school gets $678, and the balance is split up. The $71.27 is split up between Swift Mud, the hospital, and mosquito control.
Now, this example has the standard homestead exemption?
That's correct. The $50,000 homestead exemption. The first $25,000 is applied initially, and then once the value of the home reaches $75,000, it gets the additional $25,000.
Now, there's the additional. The second $25,000 does not go to schools.
Does not go to schools, that's correct. That's why later when we get into some numbers, you'll see the estimate that I gave this year was different for the school and the BOCC because of the exemptions.
June 1st was a significant day. Can you share with us what the taxable values, well, I mean, And then, you know, I was on the Board of County Commissioners, and it was a big day for us.
I remember you were.
So it was a big day for us to understand what the property appraiser was coming forth with estimates as to what the values are.
Well, that's correct, and it's very important because as the county commissioner, and you were one, that starts your budget process. That's how you know how much money you have to work with for the coming year. And this year, my estimate was $9.4 billion, which is down 2.3% from last year, and that was for the county commissioners. The school board, it was $10.1 billion, and that's 2.5% down. Now, early on, what I've done, and the first time last year was ever done, because of the economy we're in, I wanted to give out an even earlier estimate. So last year I did it in February 28th, and this year, March 2nd. And the reason for that was because of the economy that we're in, I wanted to give as much lead time to the commissioners so they could get through the budgetary process as possible. I gave them a range of 3 to 6, and 2 to 6 for Inverness and 1 to 5 for Crystal River, percentages down. So we pretty much hit the mark. Even though we gave the early estimate in February and March of the last 2 years, we pretty much nailed it, and it's worked out well for the commissioners and the school board.
Well, because even though we're just talking publicly in earnest about the budgets, they're talking about it all the time.
Absolutely.
I mean, you guys are having a running dialogue.
We're running dialogue with Kathy Taylor and the commissioners and Brad Thorpe. Absolutely, they're very involved.
Well, I mean, your estimates are now at least in the lower end of the range.
That's correct.
Which is probably very helpful for the services that our citizens have come to enjoy.
Well, and the reason for that, quite frankly, was Progress Energy this year. And we can talk about that because I know you wanted to ask me about Progress Energy.
Well, I definitely want to ask you about Progress Energy. A lot of people don't realize what a boon they are to this community. What do they pay? What percentage of the tax base do they? I know they're our largest.
Sure. Well, I've got another slide I brought. I hope maybe we can find it. There you go.
Oh, good.
Very good. Progress Energy in 2010 represented 21% of our total income stream. Now, that's pretty impressive.
That's very
And when you
incredible.
Look at towns like Palm Beach County, or counties like Palm Beach County, St. Lucie County is similar to us because they have a power plant. But Palm Beach County is, I've been reading, they're down as much as $20 million.
Well, leave that slide up there.
I will.
Because I want to come back to this. This is very interesting.
Absolutely.
And we'll be right back with property appraiser Geoff Greene.